Hello, my name is Connie Durking. I am a literacy coach with Pinellas County Schools, and I'm here today to talk to you a little bit about storytelling and how it supports language development. Language is the building block of all literacy. Having the ability to express your thoughts, feelings, wants, and needs while also understanding the thoughts, feelings, and wants and needs of someone else is imperative to becoming literate. Language is the hokey pokey. It is what it is all about. From birth on, children are programmed to develop speech and language. The first 5 years are most critical, but language development continues throughout early childhood and on into adolescence. During the first 5 years, stimulation of language development is important as the brain is both developing new nerve cells as well as multiple connections between nerve cells to serve the function of language, both expressive, what you say, and receptive, what you hear. Lack of stimulation during this time could result in a child making slower progress or end up with poor communication skills. Early on, babies like to make up sounds on their own, but by the age of 18 months, a child usually has a vocabulary of 50 to 150 words. By 2, they can probably use over 300 words and understand about 1,000. By about 18 months, children begin to put a couple of words together to form a sentence. And around 3 years of age, children begin to use language for all kinds of things. By preschool, they are beginning to understand and use the rules of language to express possession of something, connect thoughts, and quantify. In elementary school, children continue to expand their use of oral language, but are also learning to read and write. Story becomes very important in the acquisition and practice of oral language. Dr. Carol Westby wrote in her research, "We dream, remember, anticipate, hope, despair, love, hate, believe, doubt, plan, gossip, and learn in narrative." We can make stories accessible to very young children by composing developmentally appropriate stories that contain concepts that children understand. We can do this by using the real events that happen to them. Research supports that building verbal skills in early learners should revolve around playful, interactive experiences. The initial years matter the most for a child when he or she is trying to make sense of the world around them. At this stage, stories are what make learning easy and fun. The importance of storytelling for kids is also universally proven through our old ways of learning. Stories are the richest cultural recess for all communities. Children live in the world of story where they are the main character. Inviting them to share the stories of the events that happen to them will assist all children in growing vocabulary, helping each to understand how to retell an event in order and to realize that the everyday experience that happened to them are worth sharing. Everyday things happen. Children play at home, at the park, at school, and something happens. Children get hurt on their bicycles, in the yard, in their bedrooms. Children lose teeth or get a pet or help around the house. Each one of these events could be turned into a story. These are the stories that can build language. Turning a shared event into a story is simple and quick. It's as easy as this. You find a shared event, something that happened to you and your child. You tell it like a story, but don't make it any more than 6 to 8 sentences long. Be sure to use a sentence structure that your child can hold on to. Not too long, but not too short. Say a sentence and then have your child echo the sentence after you. Draw little symbols to help your child remember each sentence, and then even create a gesture to go with the sentence. And then you tell the story over and over. So here's how it could go. You could take your child outside and simply blow some bubbles. While you're blowing, share aloud some of the concepts about the bubbles that you notice. Maybe that they're shiny or they're round or they float in the air. Share with your child that this bubble blowing experience could be told just like a story that they see in a book. Then compose the story and share it with your child. Repeat the story while your child echo tells it with you. Draw some symbols to go with each sentence, and then create some gestures. Tell the story over and over and over, and then tell that bubble blowing story to someone else. So this is how our bubble story might sound. Today was a bubble blowing day. Mom and I blew bubbles outside in the yard. There were big bubbles and little bubbles. The bubbles were shiny and floated around our heads. Mom said, "Look at the little rainbow inside. When the bubbles touched the ground, they popped. Pop, 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 and then they were gone." Blowing bubbles is a blast. So by telling this bubbles blowing story, what did you just do? Well, you helped your child find a story to tell. You sequenced an event, a real event, in the order that it happened. You practiced speaking with expression. And more than anything, you helped your child practice writing craft. This story was told with a beginning and a middle and an end. There was a lead sentence. There were details like round and little bubble inside. There were sound words, pop, pop, pop. You included dialogue by saying exactly what mom said. And then finally, there was internal thinking. Blowing bubbles is a blast. So you've created a shared event. You've told the story. You've practiced the story with your child. You've found someone else to tell the story to. So now what? What do you do next? Well, you could encourage your child to write the story. After telling the story over and over and over again, it will be easy for them to remember and write the story. Maybe you could illustrate exactly what happened and put the story in order just using the little symbols. You could match the symbols to the sentences in the story that you just told. Maybe you make up a sequel. What about another kind of day? Maybe it's a bubblegum popping day. You could find published books that matches the topic that you and your child just shared together. There's lots of books out there on bubbles. And then finally, start looking for news stories, the little things that happen to you, with you along, with a loved one along. These stories are everywhere. So oral storytelling, it's really this simple. You find an event, you compose it so it sounds like a story, you tell it over and over again, and then you tell it to an audience. Stories are fun. Play with them. Look for those stories, put them in your pocket, and have fun. Marie Clay, often said the mother of all early literacy learning, says, "The very foundation of literacy learning lies in the language the child already has." Your child's language is there. Find that event. Tell it like a story. It doesn't cost anything, and it's fun. Don't forget, it's there, so use it.